All right, Patrick McDonald is here, CBS Sports. What's your official title these days?
Just golf writer, but you can find me pretty much on any digital platform. We have a 24/7 pseudo kind of sports center on the CBS Sports app or Paramount Plus that we do. Uh, YouTube podcast. YouTube's all the rage now. Andy, I'm not sure
I'm
if you've heard about that.
I have heard. I've had to adjust. I've had to adapt. Yeah.
So just golf writer for now. We run a pretty lean operation on the digital side.
What do you like doing more, podcasting or writing?
Podcasting is tricky in that we've kind of made some moves in recent years. The First Cut was banned
I know,
from
yeah.
the airwaves last winter, I believe.
Confusing decision, but
Yeah, tough scene. I got that from the head of content himself at the PGA show. I fell on my knees in the middle of the convention center. I thought he was kidding, but he was being serious. So that was a good first impression with him. And so now I do a show with Shane Bacon, and we're kind
cool.
of trying to figure things out for 2026. But I think right now we're supposed to be on CBS Sports Network for the year, which is going to be fun. But I love podcasts, man. Just yapping and talking
It's
about golf.
fun.
Nothing too serious, too.
Nothing too serious. Today will certainly not be too serious. We've done podcasts like this before, you and I, where I like having you on once or twice a year, kind of leading into like a big, well, we're heading into 2026, obviously. So it's a brand new year and a brand new golf season on the PGA Tour. The Sony Open starts in exactly 8 days. And I framed it to you as we're each going to come up with 5 bold predictions / questions, narratives, storylines, however you want to frame it, talking points at large, heading into 2026 in pro golf. So I guess why don't you get started? I don't know your picks. I'm sure we'll have some overlap in terms of like the big things we want to talk about, but give me a take heading into 2026.
And here's my thing about bold predictions, Andy. I've been reading a ton of them, right? Everyone's doing it. Every single outlet is doing the predictions for 2026. And like, these are so crazy. Jordan Spieth is going to win a tournament. It's like, gentlemen, let's
put our balls on the table here.
Exactly. Like, let's actually do something here. So I'm going to ease into it. That being said, I'm not going to go full crazy mode right away. My first bold prediction is someone not named Scotty Scheffler will complete the career Grand Slam in 2026.
Okay, wow. Let's break this down because that means it has to be Spieth, Rahm, Bryson, or am I missing somebody?
We got Spieth at the PGA.
Yeah.
Phil at the U.S. Open. He's going to get through local.
Stop
it. Come on.
Stop
Back
it.
at Shinnecock, you think he's going to miss that opportunity? I don't think so.
It.
Rahm at the PGA and British.
Yeah.
Xander at the Masters and U.S. Open. Morikawa at the Masters and U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka, who knows what's going on with him at the Masters and the British.
British. Yeah.
That's the first bold prediction. In all likelihood, I would probably take a Scotty Slam over that possibility. But you told me to be bold, and I'm being bold. I'm high. I'm very high on Xander in 26.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was, I think the off the tee numbers are pretty hairy, just given when he returned on the schedule with the new driver in the golf bag, got better throughout the year. And then the putting was just absolutely putrid until Ryder Cup. And then the numbers in Japan were, I guess, not good according to ShotLink, so they removed them. But obviously won there too. So I'm high on Xander. I think he's a lot closer to the 24 Xander than a lot of people expect.
So you would say for the prediction to come true, the more likely outcome, in your opinion, is Xander wins 2 majors over Spieth wins the PGA. I think I'd agree with you.
I would take Rahm and Xander winning 2 over Spieth winning the PGA.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I have a Scheffler one that I wrote down around the Grand Slam, and I framed it as more of a question about like, what does it look like for him at Shinnecock in 2026? And what would that mean historically if Scheffler was to get the Grand Slam? I was doing some research. Obviously, he'd now become the 7th guy in golf history to complete the Grand Slam. You've got Sarazen, Hogan, Player, Nicklaus, Woods, and Rory, obviously last year. Scheffler's 29. And if he wins at Shinnecock, he would become the 3rd youngest player to ever win the Grand Slam. The 2 younger players, Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. So he's starting, like, if that were to happen, I don't know if people realize the rarefied air that Scheffler would enter. And I have been like Mr. Pump the brakes on the Tiger comparisons, but if he has I'll say this, if he has a season that is similar to his 24 and 25, he is like immediately beginning to enter the conversation of this is like a top 5 to 8 player of all time.
Yeah,
and
he'll get
it's
to,
crazy
like,
to watch that in real time.
25 and 5 potentially if he has
Which
one of
is
those.
totally. And because he's already at like 18 and 4, I think. And he's averaged like 7.5 wins over the last 2 years. I'm both a massive Bill Simmons fan and a big nerd about golf history. So I actually have a golf pyramid of the
Okay.
greatest golfers of all time. And I could tell you right now, based on his career, like if Scheffler was to never hit a competitive golf shot ever again, he would retire as something like the 21st or 22nd most accomplished golfer of all time. He's already at 21 wins in 4 majors.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Where's Russell Henley on that pyramid?
He's got a little bit of work to do, but I can tell you the active players that could.
I figured the Arnold Palmer was worth a lot if Scheffler's that high.
Our AP 7, the great Arnold Palmer, is 7. You're gonna have to do a little more Russell Henley than win the Arnold Palmer.
That's fair.
Phil is 10, and Rory is 11. And what Rory has to do to pass Phil is not a lot for me.
Okay.
And then Brooks is 19 and Scheffler's 22. Scheffler's already won 6 more times than Brooks in half the amount of time that they've been playing. But I still have Brooks a little bit ahead of him because a major to me counts like at least almost 5 to 8 wins, if not more.
Okay. So if Scheffler ended, say, 30 and 4, never wins another one, he's ahead of Brooks?
I think so. I think once you have double the wins, it's tough. I think your mileage, your mileage may vary on that. But if you were to say what is more impressive to you, 1 major and 20 wins or 2 majors and 10 wins, I think both have an argument.
Yeah. Who's number 1 on the pyramid?
It's Tiger. And I know that Jack is more accomplished than him.
The win rate.
But yeah, I also did break it down with like the amount of years that you were playing professional golf, not hindered by an injury, and how dominant you were during that time period. And Jack obviously has the longevity, but I still think that Tiger's peak and dominance for still a pretty long period of time nudges him ahead of Jack.
Yeah. And I think, in the whole live era, everyone's talking about how the only thing that matters are major championships. I feel like it's kind of clouded, like how like still very impressive it is to win this many times, X amount of times on the PGA Tour or wherever it is, DP World Tour, whatever.
I would say in this era too, it's a deeper PGA Tour. I know some good players have gone to live, but like, I'm sorry, like winning in this era, I'm looking at like Sam Snead's 82 wins. Like if you really start diving into those wins,
it was like a one-on-one match. One of them.
Yeah. So, like Rory has 40 wins, and 5 majors. Phil has 47 wins and 6 majors.
Okay. You think, here's a question for you. I know you're a big Rory fan.
I am. Yeah.
Who do you think ends their career with more wins and more majors, or higher on your pyramid? That's probably a better question. Scheffler or Rory?
Great question. Thank you for asking that.
Mhm.
Honestly, Scheffler.
Mm.
Is that crazy? I
I
just
don't think
think
so.
honestly, Scheffler. I just think he's 29 and Rory's 37. And you look at, like, if we're talking about Scotty Scheffler and longevity, I feel like there's a lot of things working in his favor that would suggest that he would be able to play some really good golf into his late 30s and 40s. Rory's been pretty injury prone, or injury averse too. Like, Rory stayed pretty healthy throughout the course of his career. But Scheffler, I mean, it seems like he's playing the Sony Open. It seems like Scheffler is the type of guy that really, not that Rory isn't, but Scheffler seems like the type of guy that is going to want to win, not necessarily stat pad, but like, I just don't think there's a lot of other things in his life that are relative to him besides winning golf tournaments, whether that golf tournament is the Hero World Challenge or the Masters.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, where Rory, probably the rest of his PGA Tour career, is playing like 15 events, right?
I agree. And
4 majors.
he's pretty much said that too.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, how much winning opportunity does he have? And then I would say the one thing that I could see from both of them is, like, I would not be surprised if Scotty Scheffler is done playing golf by the time he's like mid 40s,
You
right?
think?
Like, he's won everything. Maybe the game's dropping off. Like, Scheffler comes across as the type of guy who would hang it up earlier rather than later. And Rory has said the same thing too.
I think you're right. I don't think either of them are like going to be
They're not going to be 60
champions
playing the
tours.
Masters.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that. My only counter would be, I just look at the way that Scheffler approaches like tournaments like the Hero and the American Express, and I'm just like, that guy has a ferocity to him that I feel like is, I think Rory has been a little bit more transparent that there are 4 tournaments a year that really matter to him, along with a couple of national opens. And Scheffler might get there by the time he gets to Rory's age, but it seems like Scheffler has this thing about him where he just wants to win everything.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special. So, anyway, we could do a whole, do you have any more Scheffler related things while we're here?
I do not.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay. Let's change gears then. Give me another one of yours.
Okay. We talked about him a little bit. Brooks Koepka seems like the hot take currently. It's gotten like so hot that it's cold now. So kind of the inverse of what is that? Hot ice. What is it called?
Dry ice.
Dry ice. Thank you very much. Right. Dry ice is so cold that it's hot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think Brooks Koepka is going to play on the PGA Tour in 2026. All the
Yes.
predictions are like he's definitely playing on the PGA Tour in 2026.
Oh, I don't.
They're like, you
Okay.
got to. It's going to be the end of Live. Come on, bring him back. He's such a star. And I'm like, do you have to?
Well, let me ask you 2 questions about this. Number 1, do you see Brooks playing on the DP World Tour in 2026?
Well, it depends what happens on the PGA Tour. So if he doesn't play on the PGA Tour, I could see him playing a handful of events on the DP World Tour. Like, say,
Yeah.
4 majors and like 4 or 5 DP World Tour events.
My whole thing is like,
I have no idea.
alluding back to the pyramid, Brooks is a historically great golfer that every time he tees it up, he's like chasing history.
Yeah.
And, Rory's now caught him in majors. They both have 5. Like, if I was Brooks, I would view every single major championship that he has left as opportunity to cement himself in golf history and potentially be one of the greatest players of all time. I would hope that he plays more than the 4 major championships on the DP World Tour. And I do agree with you that I don't think that the PGA Tour is in a position where they need Brooks Koepka to play in 2026. I don't think that he does like a massive, I don't think he changes ratings for them massively if like Brooks is in the Arnold Palmer Invitational playing at the Players. I do think that it's a more interesting conversation about like what it does strategically. If the PGA Tour were to say, listen, it's water under the bridge. And I know this would piss off some of the players, but listen, it's water under the bridge. If you're really that unhappy and you want to come back, we'll welcome you back with open arms, and then see if anybody else like Rahm or Bryson or Cam Smith or whatever, or Tyrrell Hatton are maybe a little bit more unhappy on live than they've led on to be, and see if that starts to create some sort of downstream effect.
Counter. It could also have the opposite effect where it's like
if they let him back too early,
scot free. I'm a young mid-20 something. Let me go over there for 4 years too,
and
get
take
100 million, 80
yeah.
million, whatever it is, and then I can come back too by the time I'm 30.
Excellent point. Great counter. Yeah,
I think that's kind of something I haven't really seen thrown out there. But yeah, that's bold take number 2, that Koepka will not play on the PGA Tour in 26. I hope he does eventually, like you said. I mean, it's better when Brooks Koepka is playing good golf, but at the same time, Brooks Koepka, it's not like he was a PGA Tour, rah-rah type of guy.
No, he kind of treated PGA Tour the same way that he treated Liv.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My next one is, I guess it's kind of Liv related because I'm talking about Bryson here. And this is more of, I guess I'll frame this to you as a question. But, I was thinking about, how YouTube golf kind of continues to occupy this really big space in golf. And Bryson is really the only guy that is leaning into both. And I kind of wonder, Bryson is like a very interesting figure and character in the game where he stands right now, because it's hard for me to figure out what's more of a success for him in the next year, in terms of like, is it winning a couple live events or growing his YouTube channel by 1 million subscribers? And I know that sounds like a crazy question, but I'm not entirely sure anymore what's more important to him. And I can't think of any other athlete that has had that type of crossover where like their day job almost feels like it's becoming less important than this other thing that he's doing on the side. I just think I think it's interesting. Like, I'm not the biggest YouTube golf fan. Like, I like the no laying up and fried egg stuff. I'm a little bit more architecturally interested than I am like, the good stuff. But you have to at least acknowledge and appreciate that it's a big deal what's happening with YouTube golf. Like, I think some of these guys are going to get exemptions into PGA Tour events. Like, they're celebrities. Like, the kids that I see at my golf course, like, they're all in good stuff. Like, just decked out in good stuff. And I think it's really interesting that we have one of the best golfers in the world that is like actively doing both.
Yeah, I think Bryson knows that like the stage on major championships in particular is so big that it can still help his YouTube channel as well. So he realizes that like, okay, if I'm going to play well in major championships, obviously he's chasing much more than that. It's going to help the YouTube side as well, and you don't necessarily get that stage on Live Golf. I will say I think the Live Golf thing is like good for him from the perspective, in conjunction with the YouTube channel, where it is sort of like a security blanket for him.
Agreed. And I don't know if he'd be able to pull
I don't
off.
think he'd be able to like
if he was on the PGA Tour.
Social media rights aside, whatever, filming rights aside, say he could in a perfect world do it on the PGA Tour. I agree with you. I think there would be a dip somewhere, whether it's on the YouTube side or whether it's in his competitive form side. And so I think Live Golf is legitimately perfect for him, where he says he practices, breaking 50, he practices on certain parts of his game that, he hopes translate inside the ropes on Live Golf. But I think he's really into this YouTube stuff, man. And he had that
I do
interview.
too.
I didn't read all of it or listen to it. I just saw like random quotes on Twitter. So I know they're definitely in context, which is good. Where he pretty much said, like, I could just, like, worst case scenario, just fall back on YouTube golf if I had to.
And he's good at it, and it's fun for him. It's
Yeah,
clearly
and he's gonna get LeBron next year too on his channel.
I know. I was literally just reading the tweet about LeBron like watching like Grant Horvat for Peter Finch.
There's like one guy from Boston who's just gonna hate watch the shit out of that video.
I know. Did you watch the Internet Invitational?
I did not. No. Did you?
Part of it. I didn't finish it, but so many of my friends were talking about it, and it felt like just I should, if I'm gonna cover and talk about golf, I should pay attention to what was happening. And it definitely, it's not the type of content that I think is made for me, but I had an appreciation for like how enjoyable this is for other people. Like I get it. It's not like the type of thing where I watch it and I'm like this. I think some of the characters that do it, I don't understand how they're so popular, but a lot of the guys that I do watch, I'm like, yeah, I totally get why this is more compelling to a 14-year-old than watching the Sony Open.
Yeah, and even like my friends in their late 20s.
Yeah.
Like group chats were blowing up. I didn't have to watch it because I was getting a play-by-play pretty much.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Honestly, same. So anyway, we did a little Bryson, a little Brooks. What do you have next?
My next one is, a lot of chatter about presidents, especially in international countries. As of late, Venezuela, this is topical for them, considering they're part of it. I think the President's Cup is going to get canned in 2026. They're going to announce that 2030 is the last year of the competition.
I had a President's Cup take too. And my take / question was, what is the President's Cup supposed to be? Like,
it's dead.
What is this? The U.S. has won 13 out of 14 years. The international side won one time in 1998 at Royal Melbourne. The last, pretty much 10 out of the last 11 have been at least somewhat lopsided. And it's like, I know it's different from the Ryder Cup, but it's almost too similar to the Ryder Cup in format wise that it doesn't have enough of its own distinct identity. But my kind of question was like, I just don't understand what we're doing here with the President's Cup. Like, why would you think the PGA Tour just drops it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're Brian Rolapp and these new guys, why would you put on an event where you aren't letting some of your most interesting, talented players compete in it?
Yeah.
Where Rory can't play, Ludwig, Hovland, Bobby Mack, who the rest of that European team. And I guess, when it was created, obviously the internationals had a bit of more of a foothold on golf where they had some, VJ, Ernie,
Greg
as
Norman,
well,
I think,
Norman.
at the beginning.
And so if I'm Rolapp, I'm looking at this event, I'm like, this is just dumb that we're doing this. I don't think that the format's way too similar.
I agree with you
to the Ryder Cup.
I don't think it's a negative on their balance sheet the way that the Champions Tour or the PGA Tour Latin America is. Like, I do think that I think they make money off of it. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. They're going to at least a very interesting venue this year, like the new Medina. I was talking to Mike Cocking, one of the guys that helped redo it as a part of OCM, which is this architecture firm that I think they're just tremendous. And I know they're not thought of or talked about yet as like a Gil Hanse or Corin Crenshaw, but I think they will be.
Are those guys doing East Potomac?
Well, no one's doing East Potomac except the Foz, but it's Jeff Ogilvy, Mike Cocking, and I don't remember the first name. The last name is Mead. But they're really excellent. I've talked about them before on podcasts. They just did this great golf course in Georgia called Fall Line, and they did a big renovation of the President's Cup of Medina number 3. So I'm really excited to see the golf course. And I think Chicago gets super underserved in terms of like, there should just be more golf events in the Chicago area. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this has been something I've thought about for years in terms of like the lack of competitive balance, because now they can't even lean on like your Cam Smiths, would be helpful for that team as well. Yeah.
Paul Hodowanek from the PGA Tour, he's awesome. He's a staff writer. If you don't follow him, you should, because he's out there like pretty much every week.
Predicting the President's Cup rosters.
Yeah, I read it. I was like, okay, this will be interesting. And like half the names on the international team, I'm like, oh man, this is like stinky. Put on some deodorant, my man.
Yeah, Nico Echevarria, like potentially the 5th best player on the team. It's not good. It's not what you want. And American golf is, despite the crushing defeat at Bethpage, there's a lot of amazing, like American golf still in a very good place. And I'm with you. It's difficult for me to get excited for. I have questions about competitive balance. And if it wasn't going to a cool golf course this year, then I don't know why I would watch.
And I mean, Kingston Heath too in 28. So
another amazing one.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to let that momentum of the golf courses kind of sway my opinion. I think it's after 2030, it's toast.
This somewhat relates because it's opinion or question about roll-up. And I'm wondering what, if anything, looks different in 2026 with his first full year as CEO. From my understanding, and I don't think I'm like breaking any news here, I think Josh Carpenter's reported on this. There's been murmurs of this. I have on pretty good authority that there is going to be a massive schedule change in 2027. Have you heard about this? Like the starting after the Super Bowl and basically doing away with a lot of the tournaments that aren't in major markets. Like it seems like they're going to have a more condensed season in 2027. And they're going to make more of an effort to go to, like, there's going to be an event in Miami, in Chicago, in the New York or Boston area, the Philly area. And it's going to be more of a condensed season. It seems like something along those lines is happening in 2027. But I don't know if, like, is 2026 just a transition year, or is there anything that he can promise us that will be palpable in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I was there at Sea Island, and it was kind of the talk of the town.
So you know what I'm referring to, this kind of schedule change that they're talking about in 2027.
Yeah. And then I believe it was Harris English talked about it. He was the first one to kind of spill the beans, sort of, that it was going to be, I think, maybe 25 events total, something like that. You have the 4 majors, 3 playoff events, and then like 18 regular PGA Tour events as well.
By the way, the thing I forgot to mention from that is, from what I've heard, Riviera and Pebble Beach are going to move from February, and those are going to be the playoff events.
They're going to try. I don't know if you're going to be able to get those golf courses the time of year where they would like them.
Riviera is better in August than it is in February. Now, that's a different question from, like, do the members want to give up their golf course in August versus February? Totally different question. But in terms of like how, like, the weather and how the golf course is played, like Pebble and Riviera tournaments in August versus February is a positive.
Yeah, and like trying to get Pebble in August as well.
Also, going away from Memphis in August.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm totally down to do that.
You're telling me you don't want to be in Baltimore, Memphis, and Atlanta in August?
I was just talking to you about how I took a Charleston trip in June, and
It's disgusting out.
I almost died of heat stroke. I mean,
It
I
is
can't imagine what
disgusting out.
August is like. Yeah.
But then who it was, yeah, Tiger talked about it a lot at the Hero. 26 gonna be, what we've seen the past handful of years. And then
Status quo.
yeah, and then 27, I think they want to do like a uniformed rollout and not necessarily like trickle things out slowly, just like rip the band-aid off type of thing. And so I'm curious if they get that done by 27 and if it's not even like 28 perhaps,
So
right?
you're saying there's a potential that like there's not some giant change in 27 where the entire schedule changes, but they just start to do, it's kind of more of a, like you said, a moderated rollout, or maybe they cut a couple events, but it's not all going to
It's like a
happen in
slight
1 year.
change. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Tiger said in the Bahamas. Pretty much they were like in between the two, whether they wanna, make a slight change in 27. They hope it comes in 27, but they don't know if they can kind of turn it around that quickly. And perhaps the big change, like the ripping the band-aid off, comes in 28 instead. But yeah, I think the PGA and PGB tour that's kind of been joked about it is really going to become official.
That's what I was going to ask is like, so let's say you condense the PGA Tour further and make it 20 something events, and you keep the signature events and you keep the playoffs and the majors, and that almost already gets you up close to 20. So does that mean that like the Valspar, the Honda Classic, like all of those Colonial, all of those type events, do those still happen? And they just have
Corn Ferry Tour.
worse fields, or do they merge into the Corn Ferry Tour? Like what happens to all of those events? American
Yeah.
Express, Sony Open, stuff like that. There's
Well,
like 15 of those that would be 12 to 15 of those that it seems like they're going to cut because they're not in major markets, but do the tournaments still exist?
Sony's definitely toast, right? They're not going back to Hawaii
I think
after
the
this year.
Hawaii swing is done.
Yeah, if you're not going, like, they're not going back to Kapalua next year. That's like pretty much certain. It feels like. I feel like
Yeah.
if Jay Monahan was still in charge, they would have made an effort to go to Kapalua this year. But since they're losing money on that tournament,
Yeah.
roll-ups like, why the hell would we pay $5 million to have this tournament? It makes
It's like
absolutely no sense.
I think they can't, like, they don't have any fans at that tournament. So that's why it's probably a negative for them.
Well, and also the way they changed the purse, Century is only paying 15 million and the purse is 20 million.
It's
They
such
did that
a big,
after the fact.
it's such a big purse
Yeah,
for what
and
that event
and
is.
so the
Yeah.
PGA Tour is paying 5 million out of pocket for that purse, which is
Yeah.
like the only tournament that they do that for. So Rolap sees that, he's like, no brainer. We're definitely not going out there. This is such like an easy excuse for us to skip that event. So I'm guessing they're going to skip that. Axe Sony as well. It seemed like the first event was, what was it, Phoenix after the Super Bowl?
I think they're going
I
to
think Golf
start.
Channel like tried to like hash it out.
Yeah. I think from what I've heard, they're going to start with Phoenix, and it's going to move from the year after, excuse me, the week of the Super Bowl to the week after the Super Bowl. I mean, what do you think about this like idea that they just don't want to fuck around with football?
I hate it.
I do too. Like
I think
don't,
they're just like they're looking over there and they're missing the big picture.
I totally agree. Like I don't get it. You're not
Football.
You're not football, and you're never going to be football. And I see it with my audience every year. Like, of course, there are a lot of people that don't pay attention to golf during football, but that shouldn't mean less golf. Like
Yeah.
if you want to stagger, I agree with the concept of stagger your less important events during football season, which they already do.
Mhm.
But this concept that the golf season needs to be crammed during the football off season, I don't totally understand that.
I don't either. And it sucks because we're going to miss out on some good tournaments. Like I love watching the Sony Open. I think that's a great golf
Yeah,
course that,
I agree.
unfortunately with how far these guys hit it, it doesn't have as much bite, but when that place is going firm and fast and the rough is up there at Waialae, it's a lot of fun to watch and it gives these guys a little bit of challenges. So I totally agree where I think they're just missing the bigger picture and they're so focused on NFL and they're so focused on TV ratings that there's definitely a chance they mess this up.
Are you confident? I feel like you're more of a quote unquote insider than me in
Oh,
terms of like
hardly.
well,
No.
I feel like you talk to players more than me and stuff like that and go to more tournaments than me. Do you feel like the buzz around roll up is good? Like are you
It's very positive.
yeah, I've heard that too, but again it's all conjecture.
Yeah. I mean, it's very positive from the high end players, which obviously have his attention more. And you hear that whether it's on Golf Channel or through quotes or whatever. I know, I probably talk more so to the lower end guys, some guys who are on the Corn Ferry Tour this season
Yeah.
might not have retained their cards in 2025. And I know they think they're, missing the bigger picture with them tightening the belt on the PGA Tour and whatever. But also, like, that's
Because
just from the
those
position
guys
they're in,
yeah, those
right?
guys could be the casualties to a tighter schedule.
Exactly. And they've already been casualties where it was 125, now it's 100
Mhm.
PGA Tour cards. So it's kind of tough to get an unbiased opinion just because the top end guys, like, they're fine, they're taken care of. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care what happens, doesn't affect me. Bottom end guys, it's obviously very much going to affect them, that they're not going to have as glowing of an opinion on the guy. But I think generally executives are huge fans of roll app. Everyone from the NFL was,
Yeah.
and the PGA Tour was like stoked to get him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the success of the NFL as a pure business operation and knowing that he was a pretty key cog in that machine, you have to be somewhat optimistic about it. I think that golf is at a bit of an imbalance in terms of like prioritizing the pockets of the players versus creating a better product for the fans. And I think that started to get all out of whack with Liv when they started spending all this money on players that under no circumstances were worth that amount of money. And then the PGA Tour was forced to raise their purses and then you had stuff like the PIP, and that's all well and good. I want the athletes to be compensated properly, but that's not product, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not contributing or helping an entertainment product. And an entertainment product is what drives ratings, right?
And I would even say it's not just roll app either, Andy. You have the private equity piece to it too.
oh yeah,
So
SGS,
yeah. So
SGS.
there's a lot of people to feed at that table.
I almost forgot about SGS because they're
Yeah.
kind of just like, yeah, we haven't really heard much out of them. Anyway, I have, how many more do you have? Because I only have one more.
I have two.
Okay,
Well,
give me
they're
one.
kind of one.
Okay, give me your big one then, or
I don't
one
know.
A
They're
and one
both like
B.
kind of little ones. I'll start with this one though, since we're talking about the strategic sports group. Of course, I'm waiting on these guys to just start writing the checks. And I'm not talking
Yeah,
about this like bullshit equity thing that, we're never going to see. And the old guys are complaining about still, like Nick Faldo. Like PGA Tour's got to start spending some money somewhere. And so I'm thinking of this new schedule, Andy, in 27 or 28, wherever it may be. And I think there's going to be a lot of TPC courses on that. And
interesting.
I think they might try to start rolling out that capital in a way where they can take ownership in more golf courses. Because if you're roll app, you're like, why are we going to these golf courses that we don't own? Why are we going
I,
to these golf courses that we have to pay?
I'm glad you brought this up
And
because
so there's obviously you know, the prestigious ones like Riv, Pebble that like you gotta go to if you can. But I think a lot of the other ones, they could be on the fence.
It makes a lot of sense to own golf courses that you go to every year. There's a lot of things logistically that would make that a lot easier for the PGA Tour to operate. Now, I wonder if they start doing stuff like with the PGA of America, what they have done with PGA Frisco, essentially, where they build this new headquarters, and obviously they build 2 new golf courses around the headquarters. And what a surprise, the PGA Championship goes there in 2027 and will probably continue to go there in the future. The PGA Tour doesn't own TPC Sawgrass, does it?
They own the TPC network, do they not?
Yeah, you could be right about that.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of options with all of those TPC courses. The problem is, you know, unless they roll the ball back, they're going to have to start spending a lot of money on updating those golf courses, right? So the question is, do they try and start to buy some new properties, or just like an example of this would be TPC River Highlands, where they've sunk millions of dollars into TPC River Highlands over the past couple of years to beef up that golf course. And at the end of the day, the property just isn't big enough. It's just not going to, it's TPC River Highlands is TPC River Highlands. And it's not the golf course that it was in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s anymore. So I'm interested about that too. Like, I generally think that TPC style architecture has there's a style to those golf courses that I don't always love. Like it feels like there's a lot of, similarly designed risk reward par 5s and par 3s over water. And there's just a lot of overlap in like the design philosophy and ethos of those golf courses. And some do it better than others. Like, I think TPC Scottsdale is a really good version of that, generally because it gets a little bit firmer and faster. But I hope it's not just color by numbers. Like, I hope that they really try and go to new, different, eclectic properties. Like, I think, for example, the decision to go to the Black Desert was a really good choice. I know it's a fall swing event that very few people care about, but like, I'm not saying that Black Desert Resort is Cypress Point, but we don't have golf in that aesthetic, right? Like, we don't see golf in the mountains like that, right? Very often. And if I were the PGA Tour, I would be leaning into as much variety as possible, right? And giving some of these tournaments and golf courses distinct identities, right? Like, how many tournaments on the PGA Tour do you think have an identity, right? Like Phoenix, I think Phoenix has an identity.
Oh yeah.
Pebble has.
They've kind of taken away some of the identity from Pebble, I would say.
Yeah, but it still has somewhat of an identity because it's an iconic golf course.
Yeah.
Riviera has an identity. It's Los Angeles, an iconic golf course. But you start running through it, and there are a lot of identity-less golf courses and identity-less tournament. And again, that turns into a product conversation.
Yeah. Just don't be shocked if they decide to go to Boston in 27 or 28 and it's TPC Boston. That's all I'll say. I don't have that on any good authority.
I didn't mind TPC Boston. It probably just needs like, I remember Scheffler shot 59 there before he was Scheffler, I think.
Yeah. And DJ should have too.
Yeah.
Shot like 60 with like 6 straight pars to end.
It has a cool aesthetic to it. Like I like that New England. I like that kind of New England aesthetic to it. Kind of the way that the country club in Brookline looks. Like it looks New Englandy, which part of the country I went to school in and love, but it probably needs a bit of an update. I'll give you my last one. I think that both Morikawa and Hovland, who combined to win one time last year and are both in their primes, I think they have big bounce back years. I really do. They're both quite young. They both have a lot of major championship pedigree, and they had really disappointing seasons. Those were two guys that heading into 2025, you could pencil them in as two of the seven best, most exciting players on the PGA Tour, and they were not top 10 players on the PGA Tour last year, maybe not even top 15 players on the PGA Tour last year. And I think they come back. I think they come back swinging in 2025 or 2026. What's
Any
kind of
reason
your
why? Any reason why? Like any
positive
part of the game?
regression? Like, I
Okay.
just think they're really good. And
Yeah.
more
Sometimes it's as simple as that. It's like, yeah, they're fucking good
yeah,
golfers.
if I was to attempt to get more analytical about it, I would
Mhm.
say that Morikawa really did have a good ball striking year. Like
Yes.
there wasn't things about his ball striking statistically that were like, oh, Morikawa's lost it. Like the guy's
Mhm.
going through a major swing change. Like he's lost that touch. No, he just putted and chipped like shit
Yep.
really badly. And I'm not saying that it's possible that that doesn't continue in 2026, but it is historically at like a very big macro level. It's easier on a week to week basis, on a month to month basis to flip your chipping and your putting than it is to flip bad ball striking. And both those guys are still very good ball strikers. So yeah.
Okay. And like to Morikawa's point, he was kind of rolling before. I think you said you had him 14th on your pyramid. Russell Henley baptized him at the Arnold Palmer
At
Invitational.
API.
Yeah, and if Morikawa wins that event, who knows what happens for the rest of his 2025 season, right? I know one thing: he's not lamenting to the media at the Players Championship that no one was following him to the autograph zone. I know that much.
What do you like? I think Morikawa lost a lot of not I mean, I'm probably looking at this through like my little echo chamber of like a lot of the people that I talk to in our
He
Discord, a
came
lot of the
across
people.
whiny this year.
Yes. Yeah.
He was just a baby
And I
in
think I
2025.
think that was really vexing for people, myself included.
Yeah, he to me, I haven't had a ton of interaction with him. I've talked to him for a brief period once a couple years ago, but just based on how he handles the media, and to his point, some of the media gripes I thought were fair. I know he went after Shupak at Detroit for like blowing his phone up during a pro-am, like trying to get the caddy scoop on him, and he was like, "Dude, chill out. Let me play in this
Yeah.
pro-am."
It's not what
And
you want.
so, like, I do appreciate and applaud him from the perspective of keep letting it rip in the media, man. Like, let us talk about you, have our opinions on you, but like you actually showing personality instead of being a robot like you had been coming on to the PGA Tour. I'd much rather have a whining Collin Morikawa than a Collin Morikawa who's just stoic, not doing anything, because it gives
I
us something to talk about, makes them
I
more interesting.
I do agree, but it's much easier to get away with that if you're winning,
Yes,
right? Like
you
he
can do it if you're like Rory, pretty much.
right. It becomes, like I said, very vexing to people if you're whining and also not playing good golf.
Yeah.
Um, because then, yeah, you come off like a baby, and it comes off like you're not just upset at the media, but you're upset at the
You're
state of
taking
your
it
own
out on them
game, and
pretty
you're
much.
taking it out on them because you're mad that you're not winning as many golf tournaments as you used to.
Here
So,
are my takes on Hovland and Morikawa since I
okay.
just looked into them last week. The one thing I'm concerned about with Morikawa, like you mentioned, the iron play was good last year. He's still like the
It,
most accurate driver in the
it
world
was it was
outside of like
good.
Aaron
Yeah.
Rye and Henley, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, I am concerned that he is so obsessed with the iron play, though, where if you hear him talk, he's like, my iron play needs to get better. It needs to improve. And it's like, buddy, I don't really think it does. Like, you're dangerous from where you are currently, but after the Tour Championship, he's like, my iron play needs to get a lot better in 26. And I think he's looking at those 20 and 21 years where he was gaining, I don't know, like a tenth more per round on approach and thinking, I got to get back there. And it's just like, that's a losing battle, man.
That's really well said. And I think that Hovland even has a little bit of that too. I forgot what tournament it was, but Hovland was going through a struggle in 2026. And again, forgive me for not remembering what time of year this was, but I remember he did get asked about, hey, what's going on with your short game? And he was like, I haven't really been chipping all that much. Like I'm really trying to improve as my swing as a ball striker. And it's like, well, if you just got if you just got 0.5 strokes per round better as with your short game, like that would fill in a lot of gaps. That would help. That would stop the bleeding like a lot with a lot of things. And you're right. It seems like both of them, Hovland more famously, they're like obsessed. Hovland's obsessed with the grind. And I know that that's not always, that's a good thing if you focus your intention in the right places. And I don't know. He seems like he's just like, he's a total golf nerd and he seems like obsessed with perfecting the swing, and he could be a top 5 player in the world if he was just a better chipper and putter.
The thing with Hovland, just to continue with being devil's advocate, his ball speed and club head speed since winning the FedEx Cup that season, what was that, 23?
Yeah.
Has dropped pretty significantly.
Interesting.
Ball speed, he's down 4 miles per hour. Club head speed, kind of the same thing. And he was outside the top 100 in both of those this season. When you look at 23, I believe he was like mid 40s, around 40. And so for whatever reason, it's dropped. And I know those were kind of the heydays of him speed training a lot, trying to add more pop in the bat. And maybe he just reached a place where he was happy with it. But that's something I'm looking at with him, because his driver, in my opinion, it's why he didn't win the U.S. Open. It was just not good at all.
Yeah.
And if he drove it like normal Hovland, there's a chance he's your 2025 U.S. Open champion.
Yeah. And I wonder if that was another intentional, because when you said that, I immediately went to, well, if you decrease a little bit in ball speed, that's somewhat forgivable if you are aggressively hitting more fairways, because players will have their battle with speed training. And then a lot of them will say to themselves, okay, this strategically wasn't entirely worth it for me, where they go through periods where they're just wailing away at it. And then they go through other periods where they're trying to hit more fairways depending on where they're at in the schedule. Hovland is an accurate driver, but he was fast and accurate before, to your point. Like he didn't become aggressively more accurate while losing speed. So yeah, I mean, you look at that 2023, where he had 9 top 5s that year and 4 wins. That was the best golf he's ever played. Mm-hmm. His distance was up. He was a +3 in distance last year and a +3 in accuracy. In 2023, to your point, he was a +9.5 in distance and a +5 in accuracy.
Damn.
So you're right. I mean, and he went down from almost a +1 per round driver to a +0.5 per round driver. So you're right. It's not just short game with him. Like he is decreased as a driver in the last 2 years.
Yeah. To your point, though, I agree both of them. I think beginning of the year, I'm always like, Cantlay's going to win 4 times. Like, you get a win. Like every year, I'm betting Cantlay for the Masters.
This is my first year. I'm not falling for it.
This is the year it's going to happen, man.
Yeah, probably.
And so I agree where it's just like, these guys are too good. But I would probably do you have a pick if you had one? Like, who would have a better year?
Better
Hovland or
year,
Morikawa?
Hovland.
Yeah, I'm with Hovland as well.
I'd say Hovland.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
give me
just
your
trust him to grind it out more.
yeah. Yeah, and he is a better putter than Morikawa,
Yeah.
historically at least.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Do you have any more? That's it for me.
Last one. I had this prediction last year. I thought the PGA Tour was going to buy the Golf Channel. That did not happen. Congratulations to everyone part of Spinco and what is it for Versant. They just went
Yeah.
public. I don't think the stock's doing too hot. Might be a good chance to buy.
Yeah.
I think the PGA Tour starts like some sort of PGA Tour network. They're the only league without a network, right? NFL Network has one, NHL, NBA, name a sport. There's a tennis channel. And I think they look at those studios that they just built at the PGA Tour headquarters.
Have you been
and
down there?
I have not, no. But I do know it's like empty half the time.
Yeah.
And so something needs to go in there. I know they produce a couple Golf Channel shows in there. My guy Matt Every's killing it there on The Drop, I believe. I think they
Right.
have
Well, they have they're basically broadcast quite a bit on ESPN Plus, right?
PGA
Like
Tour
the
Live is in
PGA,
there.
PGA Tour Live. And so it does hypothetically make sense. I would love this as a gambler if the PGA Tour Network was just took all of PGA Tour Live and just made that their programming Thursdays through Sundays, where you just got a shit ton of non primetime golf. Like if you want to still have the stuff on NBC and CBS, the final groups, that 3-hour window when the tournament's about to end, sure. But I would love if golf goes on for 9 hours a day during the PGA Tour. Like that should just be on TV.
I wouldn't be surprised if some version of that, not next year, not in 2 years, whenever down the line, if something like that happens, where they just put all the PGA Tour Live stuff that's on ESPN Plus instead of giving ESPN Plus all that. They're like, we can just do this.
That'd be sick. I'd welcome that. I don't know how you fill your TV schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I mean, like for example, right now it's always on at my gym. Like they're just showing tournaments on the Golf Channel right now that happened in 2025. It's not that bad content. Like that's what the NFL Network does too. Like, I will go into the gym and I'll look up and it's like, oh wow, like I'm catching the back nine of TPC River Highlands. Like I didn't realize how close this was between Tom Kim and Scotty Scheffler or whatever. There's a million examples.
It's great the week of too. Or like the week before, like, oh, it's like, oh, this is what happened, a few years ago, or what happened. This is what happened last year. I agree.
Yeah.
It's very underrated or underutilized.
It's not like they need to spend millions of dollars on original programming.
No.
Like you have this giant catalog of
they have the data lake.
Yeah. So I would love to see that. I hope you're right. That's it for me. I don't have anything else. This was a pleasure. Great podcasting, my friend.
It was fun. You got did you already give out your major predictions for 26, your winners?
Yeah, I'll tell you them. I'll give you mine and then you give me yours. Beautiful. I'm going Scotty at Masters. I just think that's the most likely tournament for him to win. Yeah. Like by my numbers, I think that's like the most sensible pick. I'm going Tommy Fleetwood PGA Championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going Hideki Matsuyama US Open at Shinnecock.
Love it.
I love that golf course for him. And I'm going John Rahm at Royal Birkdale.
Okay.
What about you?
So since Scheffler's not completing the career Grand Slam, I obviously need someone else to. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be Xander Schauffele. He's going to win the Masters. PGA, I'm going to go Cam Young.
Yeah.
US Open, that's Xander again.
Yeah.
And then the Open, I'm going to go Justin Rose.
That'd be sick. He feels like a 2 major guy. He feels like he's earned that second major.
So that's what I'm rooting for. Scheffler might win them all though.
He could. He certainly could. Anything you got going on to plug in the next couple of weeks as we get started?
I'll be there at cbssports.com. You can find all my writing there. And then, like I mentioned, once the CBS golf broadcast kicks off at Torrey Pines, we're going to be on CBS Sports Network every Tuesday at noon Eastern. It's going to be me, Shane Bacon, and possibly some of the guys that you listen to on TV, perhaps a fun little tease there. So a little inside the ropes, outside the ropes access every week for CBS events.
How often do you get to go to tournaments now?
Major championships. And then
okay, so I'll see you at Shinnecock.
I will be there.
I'll be there too.
That'll be awesome. It'll be good to meet for the first time in person.
That'll be fun. Yeah, there's a lot of like there'll be a lot of mutual friends that both of us know. That's like a good there's just a lot of my friends from the Northeast, and I'm sure like just it's gonna be fun. You know what else is gonna be cool about it is I know this is like a snooty members thing, but they are not going to allow as much corporate build outs at this US Open.
Oh, thank God.
So I think it's going to be a pretty good fan experience, especially if like, I don't think I'll be inside the ropes, but especially if you're inside the ropes, like there's not going to be a lot of, comparatively speaking, there'll still be some grandstands, but there's not going to be as many as there were at LACC and Pinehurst.
I was going to say, I know it's different organizations, obviously, but my one complaint from the Ryder Cup was the lack of corporate hospitality. So
yeah, I were you at that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a couple of friends too that, anyway, that's a whole topic for another day. Thank you for joining me, Patrick. Happy New Year's. It's a pleasure as always. And I'll see you at Shinny at the Cock.
See you at Shinny, brother.